Michael Eckdow, and Sergeant with the Mountain View Police Department.
How long have you been with Mountain View Police?
Since November of 1987.
Since November? Okay. Have you been in any other department?
Yeah, I was with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office as a deputy in 1986.
And what made you get involved with law enforcement?
Well, Ricky, that's kind of a long story.
We got time, Sarge.
Yeah.
Got time.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You're too bad. You're too bad.
Well, before I was working, I got to start back. Had a family. Still got that family. And at that time, I was like 20, 21. I got a family. I got babies to feed. I got 2 kids. And I'm trying to make it as a counselor. So for a while I was a youth counselor. I was a ex-offender counselor at 21 years old. I was like, guys coming out of prison, in jail, I was their counselor. So, but I couldn't feed my family on that. And it was getting kind of tough. So I did some praying. And I asked the good Lord, man, to just put me in a place where I can advance myself, work hard, and support my family. And my brother-in-law at the time suggested that I take a look at the sheriff's office as an extra help deputy. I really never liked cops as a kid, but I kind of had to put that all past me and started thinking, well, I've studied martial arts since I was a kid, and I could hold my own in a fight. I figured, well, cops, thinking that's kind of what they do, but I also could talk to people, and I'm thinking that's what cops do too. So I thought, well, maybe I could be a cop. I put my application in, and I got accepted as an extra help deputy. It's not a full-time deputy. You work the courts, and they give you a uniform, they give you a badge, a gun, duty belt, and you're good to go. They gave me 1 week of training, and had to go up to Butte County up north for that training, but I didn't even have wheels to get there, so I had to take the Greyhound bus to get there because my ride wouldn't have made it. So went up there for a week, came on back, and started working at the sheriff's office.
I've worked with Sergeant Eckdow. I worked for him for about 4 years as a detective, probably about 10 years ago. And then I've worked with him currently I'm on 4 years again in youth services. I love working with Sergeant Eckdow. He's a good guy. We know what to expect of each other because we worked together before. We like each other's work ethic. We know how to function with each other, especially in youth services. We both have a heart for kids. We both take kids camping on trips and stuff like that. So I really enjoy working with him.
One thing that always sticks out in my mind is choose your friends wisely. He would always tell me to choose friends that got me out of trouble, not into trouble. And that's basically what we teach our kids now.
I was the first gang officer in Mountain View. When I took a look at the problem, of gangs and the issues, I realized that if we just hit everything with a hammer, it wasn't going to fix it. In that I can arrest gangsters all day long, but all I'm going to do is put them in prison. And I figured if we slow down the number of kids getting involved, we'll slow down the number of kids, and the number of kids that we'll be sending to prison. So if we just kind of let those numbers come on in, then we're going to end up with a huge problem. Okay, so early on, this is like in 1995, when we had when the city authorized the first gang officer. I put in for it. I had been working gangs a long time before that, but I got the position. So I started a prevention program back then called Dreams and Futures.
So Dreams and Futures is inherently designed as an at-risk youth outreach. At-risk could mean anything from a kid's home by himself for the summer. Maybe he or she has an older sibling who's a gangster. Maybe he or she just lives in a challenging neighborhood. The kid maybe it's just a kid who doesn't have anything going on for the summer, and a teacher makes a referral because they could really use, a fun couple weeks. So that's kind of our target group. And what Dreams and Futures is it's a two-week sessions. One is a younger, more like elementary age group. The next group, secondary group, is middle school. And what we do is we provide them 2 weeks of field trips to places like the San Francisco Zoo, Six Flags, Golfland, and water slides, and other fun things like that. We also provide a trip to Google, things of that nature, just to get them out of their normal little routines. During the non-field trip days, which is every other day, they're in the school, and we try to provide them with sports-related activities, whether it's boxing, basketball, whatever we do, tennis. And we also give them different blocks of learning, maybe a DARE program, a drug and alcohol abuse class, maybe anti-gang related classes and things like that. And then we also incorporate that with sporting events.
So we've been working prevention, working with kids, trying to keep them on the straight and narrow since then, formally. And, now we have a whole team of gang officers that does a lot of mentoring and home visits and, helping parents and doing that kind of stuff. So anybody from the hood give you a hard time now because you're an explorer?
Oh, no.
36 from downtown. V30 charge is cleared, I got it.
He'll do whatever he can to save a kid, to help nurture them back on the right path. If a kid's hung up with gangster drama or activity, he'll do whatever he can for them. He'll he'll buy them lunch. He'll take them aside. He'll invest in them. He'll be vulnerable, and allow him to be a friend or a mentor to them. Doesn't always work out, but I think a lot of people out there really respect what he does because it's for real and it's from his heart.
Growing up with him as a police officer kind of gave me a confidence in law enforcement and dealing with police officers. I didn't get fear of him going to work and possibly getting hurt until I was probably a teenager. As a kid, I thought, oh, my dad can never get hurt. He can, take the whole world out. But as a teenager, I would get more worried about him going in and something happening.
So when we were detectives, we had a group of young guys who they were on a string of doing robberies up and down the peninsula, Santa Clara and San Mateo counties.
I'm handling the robbery cases. They send me another detective down south for the school. When we come back, my wife picks us up at the airport, and she goes, "You got to go into work." And I'm going, "No, don't even go there." And she goes, "No, they called you. There's been a shooting. You got to go." So I had to go home, pick up my gun, and head straight on into work.
And what these guys did is they had actually shot and killed a bank teller in Burlingame, very tragically, right after she returned to work from maternity leave. So she had 2 small children. like ages 2 and 4, maybe younger. And the same guys that were responsible for that committed 2 simultaneous robberies in Mountain View, in which they shot one of our police officers.
One of our officers, when the alarm comes out, is right in the area and pulls over a white SUV. The one of the occupants in the SUV comes on out.
Wait.
Bam, 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 bam.
36,
Fires at the officer and cut a fragment in the face. But he did a great job, man. I mean, he stuck in the, he stayed in the chase because the guy unloaded and then jumped back in the SUV, and then the pursuit was on.
So we had to run with that. We had to do a lot of traveling.
We probably were lucky if we got 2 to 4 hours sleep a night.
We did, I think it was 85 or 90 hours overtime in like 8 or 9 days.
We eventually got all of them in custody. We got confessions and admissions from all the suspects.
The main guy who gave himself up ultimately confessed to everything and didn't even go through a jury trial. It was a death penalty case, so we had to walk him through that, but he admitted everything. And the other 4 suspects as well all ended up doing state prison time.
We cleared all those cases, which included the homicide up in Burlingame, 2 shootings in Mountain View with robberies, and another couple of shootings in the Bay Area. I think one was in Pacifica. But that was 9 days of craziness.
For us, that was a memorable case because it was an unsolved homicide that we, as part of our investigation, we got to work on. We got to catch the guy, and like I said, 5 others, and we were running ragged for about a week and a half.
Probably half the time I just closed my eyes for a few hours here at the PD and just kept running with it. So that was a great case.
Sometimes those who knew that my dad was a police officer, especially boys, would be very fearful if he would come around. You know, they'd say, oh, her dad's a cop or something like that. Not everybody knew, but just kind of looking at him sometimes if he'd pick us up from school or they'd see him dropping us off at a dance or something like that, just seeing him, you know, guys would get scared. My girlfriends thought he was nice and cool, and yeah, but I think it was probably the boys that he intimidated.
Junior cop need to be in good shape?
Yes.
How come?
How
come?
What?
What do cops do?
Cops do to protect their city, and people who break the law, they get arrested, like drinking beer.
I wish society would understand that, and people would understand that when we become police officers, from the day we start incurring scars and wounds. Okay? Ricky, you don't want to even know half of the things that I've seen, half of the things that I've experienced. You wouldn't want to go through those things, but we do. And we carry those with us.
I do feel like society is quick to jump on police officers when something does happen. Not to say that police officers aren't human, but there's an aspect to their job that a lot of people don't understand, and you really can't understand until you're in it and doing it. I used to work for law enforcement, and we had to go through a training. It's a simulated training where you're thrown into different scenarios and you have to figure out what to do, whether you draw or, you know, how to handle the situation. And it wasn't because I was going to handle a gun or anything, thank God, but it was just to give you an idea of what it's like in the life of a police officer. And so they'd run the same simulation twice. So you'd be pulling over a car and, you know, it's the same thing that you already went through, and it's just somebody who needs a ticket. And then next thing you know, the next simulation is the same exact thing, but this person's pulling out a gun. So in a split second, things change, and these police officers have to be prepared for any situation. And I don't think people understand that type of pressure and expertise they have to have. And I don't think they maybe get enough respect for the decisions that they have to make in order to protect other people.
A lot of times people get cynical and they get, you know, they think everyone is either a dirtbag or it's really easy to get negative in this job. I really fight that, and I combat that by, for me personally, I try to read the Bible every day. I go to church. I get active, involved with my family, like in Little League and things like that, to try to keep you not immersed in the profession.
When someone comes in contact with a police officer, they usually fall into one of three categories. They're either a suspect, a victim, or they saw something bad. So there's not too many people that are really happy to see us. You know, it's a tough position to be in, but every once in a while you're able to do somebody some good, and you get a little appreciation, get a little love back from it. You kind of hang on to those things. You just kind of do this kind of naturally, but some of us have, like I have a box of little thank you cards, little things that people have sent me, just to remind me that, you know, you're doing God's work out there, you know. For me, some people love me, some people not so much, you know, but it is what it is. Well, retirement's coming up soon. Yeah. So, probably by the end of the year, that'll be it for me. But I'm going to finish out strong. I still got some stuff to do here. Some major projects with the Santa Clara County Gang Task Force, Cops That Care. We're going to pull that off again, even though Cooper's not here no more. And going to make sure that that has a good start, new start. So, but once that's done, I'm going to retire and see what that's like. So, I may find something else, but we'll see.
I hate to see him go because I enjoy working with him. He's more than just a supervisor or boss to me. As a friend and a confidant and like a team member. And I think that's what makes our unit so strong, is that we're a bunch of people who all have driven with the same goals. We're not just there getting a paycheck. We like working together. We like the job we do. We like the community we serve. We try to help the same group of kids who are usually falling under the at-risk category and stuff, and I'm gonna miss them.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, hang on.
I got you.
12, okay. All right, raise your right hand. Everybody raise your right hand. Raise it up high. Okay. Say, I promise
I promise. I promise.
to do the best job I can
To do the best job I can.
to protect my neighborhood,
To protect my neighborhood.
to protect my families,
To protect my families.
to listen to my teachers,
To listen to my teachers.
and do